President Biden rolling out new Title IX rules with more protections to LGBT students, but he avoids addressing transgender athletes. Our next guest says the new regulation threatens decades of advancement for women. You know her well. Outkick contributor and former NCAA swimmer Riley Gaines joins us now. Riley, I read the administration's explanation for these Title IX revisions, and it confounded me. Here's what Miguel Cardona had the audacity to say. These final regulations build on the legacy of Title IX by clarifying that all our nation's students can access schools that are safe, welcoming, and respect their rights. So according to the Biden administration, pushing women out of women's sports builds on the legacy of Title IX? I mean, help me understand.
Exactly. That's exactly what they're saying. They're saying all are welcome except for women. This is the most asinine, really, I would say the most anti-woman, anti-reality pursuit we have seen from this administration thus far. It is something that not only abolishes women's sports as we know it, this would allow men in women's locker rooms, bathrooms, changing spaces. This would potentially allow men to be housed in dorm rooms with women, and this would compel our speech. Students and faculty would be required to use preferred pronouns. And if we don't, or if you, a 17-year-old girl who's randomly housed with a male in your dorm room, if this is something you go to your administration and express your discomfort with, under these new Title IX, this new proposal, this new rewrite, you would be guilty and charged with sexual harassment. Not the man parading around your locker room. No, to President Biden, that's considered brave. That's considered inspiring and stunning and whatever other virtuous word he wants to use. But you calling a spade is grounds for sexual harassment.
You know, I read a Washington Post KFF poll last year, and it was on these transgender issues, and it was astounding, Riley. I look at a lot of political issues, and a lot of them are 50-50 or, 40-60. These were astounding. I mean, to the tune of more than 60% saying they do not believe biological men should compete in women's sports. Do you get the sense across the country that people are with you on this issue, regardless of party identification?
Of course I do, which is why, honestly, I was mind blown that he pursued this in an election year, honestly. But the way he did it was pretty strategic. You mentioned leading up to this hit that he has a separate rollout for sports. Basically, what he was doing was winking at normal, sane people saying, hey, we're with you, but also winking at the progressive left saying, hey, we're with you. In doing that, really standing on the fence, we know that this is a way to alienate both sides. So, of course, this is an issue that I would say 95% of common sense, everyday Americans, of course, parents, coaches, medical professionals, female athletes themselves, they see this happening, and this certainly turns them away. This really isn't a battle of red versus blue. Really what this is sane versus insane, really moral versus evil.
Well, Riley Gaines, you have been on the forefront of this issue, fighting for women across the country, people like my daughter, who I hope is in women's sports one day. So thank you very much from a mother, and I know you speak on behalf of a lot of women.
Well, thank you, Kaylee. Be sure to tell your daughter I say hi.
I will.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
That $95 billion package of aid for Ukraine, Israel, and other U.S. allies. The House passage follows months of intense political battles on Capitol Hill. ABC's Jay O'Brien has been on the Hill for all of it, and he's back there now with this major development. Good morning, Jay.
Gio, good morning. The Senate says it's going to start taking up this package on Tuesday, and it's expected to pass there. But it got out of the House with the support of Democrats, and that has teed up a political showdown between Speaker Johnson and members of his own party.
This morning, a $95 billion foreign aid package, including assistance for Israel and Ukraine, moving on to the Senate after dramatically passing the House. Speaker Mike Johnson putting his job in jeopardy to get it through.
The bill is passed.
The package includes $60 billion for Ukraine, $26 billion for Israel, and $8 billion for Taiwan. Plus legislation to force a sale of TikTok from its Chinese parent company or face a possible ban in the U.S.
You do the right thing and you let the chips fall where they may.
The speaker angering hardline Republicans who said they wanted a border security bill passed first. But those same GOP lawmakers rejecting a bipartisan border bill weeks ago in the Senate under pressure from former President Trump. Some Republicans irate the speaker turned to Democrats to get this package over the finish line. Democrats waving Ukrainian flags when aid for that country passed, but more Republicans voting against Ukraine aid than for it.
This is the third betrayal by Mike Johnson. He's done. He's done.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't immediately call for a vote to oust Johnson, but joining with two other members to advance a motion to remove the speaker.
Are you concerned that what you're doing could throw the House into chaos?
The House is in chaos. Part of the reason we're doing this is to get us back out of chaos.
But a majority of Republicans not backing Greene's efforts to topple Johnson.
And replace him with who? Somebody tell me who you're going to replace him with.
Meantime, Democrats signaling if needed, they're open to voting to save Johnson after he risked the speaker's gavel for what he said was the right thing.
Getting behind this long-stalled
Heightened tensions in the Middle East. Overnight, a deadly explosion at a military base in Iraq. The U.S. is denying any involvement, and Israeli military forces are not commenting. But it comes 24 hours after Israel launched a retaliatory strike against Iran. Satellite images revealing the damage to an Iranian military base. Many world leaders now urging both sides to de-escalate. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge reporting from Tel Aviv tonight.
Tonight, an explosion at a base in Iraq amid new uncertainty in the Middle East after Israel launched a direct attack on Iran in retaliation for a barrage of Iranian missiles and drones. Iranian proxies outside of Iran facing attacks. Explosions causing a large fireball at a base near Baghdad, belonging to an Iranian-backed militia, seen in this cell phone video circulating on social media. One person killed, say Iraqi officials, with the US military denying any involvement. The IDF saying they won't comment. That attack in Iraq coming less than 24 hours after Israel's strike on Iran. Videos circulating online appearing to show explosions near the Iranian city of Isfahan. A senior US official saying Israeli fighter jets firing at least 3 missiles from outside of Iranian airspace, targeting an Iranian air defense radar protecting Iran's key Natanz nuclear facility. But that nuclear site not the target. The attack underlining that Israel has the capabilities to hit Iran's most prized assets. And today Israel saying it struck a base in Lebanon belonging to the Iranian-backed group Hezbollah. This former Israeli intelligence officer saying the aim should not be to escalate.
This is very important for Israel. We want to concentrate on Gaza. We want to finish this issue.
And today Israel continuing to strike southern Gaza. People running for cover in the city of Rafah. Cries of grief from this father. Ahmed's daughter killed.
Saturday night in Beirut. An international dance festival draws in the crowds, while the shadow of war hangs over the region.
The Sunday stroll along the Corniche is cherished by Beirutis. You have every demographic, probably every religion and every political belief represented here, alongside the banners that are commemorating Lebanese militants who have been killed, a reminder of the near constant fighting against Israel on the southern border. Lebanon has been here before, 15 years of civil war from 1975, recurring conflicts with Israel that have killed thousands, economic collapse, a deadly explosion at Beirut port. So with current tensions, life does go on.
People just want to live their life. We've passed so many wars before.
Sure, we are not happy. We are busy. I'm thinking all the time. Maybe we start a war. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe after tomorrow.
We've learned to be more resilient. We need to live at the end of the day.
Interesting. And former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in a recent podcast stating what direction she believes the country would go if Donald Trump heads back to the White House.
Trump was just gaga over Putin because Putin does what he would like to do: kill his opposition, imprison his opposition, drive, journalists and others into exile, rule without any check or balance. That's what Trump really wants.
That's pretty rich coming from a Clinton. Clinton did go on to also admit she feels President Joe Biden is too old to be running for president. That convention in Chicago in August still could be pretty interesting. And those are your headlines. Going to toss it now to Will, my future competitor in
in the Fox 5. He almost took out an audience. And Kaylee almost came back there, Will.
No, I swear.
That horrifying scene at a children's birthday party, a brother and sister killed and more than a dozen injured when a car driven by a suspected drunk driver came crashing through. ABC's Ike Ajachi is here with more. And Ike, such a tragedy here.
That's right. Good morning, Gio. This was a highly chaotic scene filled with children and parents celebrating a birthday party. Now, several people are left fighting for their lives.
We have a 4-year-old trapped underneath the vehicle.
Overnight, tragedy in Monroe County, Michigan. A vehicle crashing into Swan Boat Club, continuing 25 feet into the building, hosting a child's birthday party.
Unfortunately, in tragedy, 2 of the victims were pronounced deceased at the scene. This includes an 8-year-old female and a 5-year-old male, who are siblings of each other.
New video footage capturing the horrifying final moments as the car speeds past. A loud crash is heard.
Vehicle went through the building. It's a child's birthday party. We have several people on the ground, as well as several children injured, possibly one pinned underneath the vehicle.
First responders describing the scene as extremely chaotic, with high levels of emotion. Aid was rendered to 15 victims at the scene. 6 adults and 3 children rushed to hospitals with life-threatening injuries. At least 2 children who were siblings, ages 8 and 5, died at the crash scene.
The 66-year-old female driver of the vehicle, excuse me, who will not be identified at this time, has been taken into police custody for operating while intoxicated, causing death,